Good day, good people. My name is Dr. Jamie Marich, and I am credited as the developer of a modern conscious dance and expressive arts therapy practice called Dancing Mindfulness. Although, as I've stated since the inception of this formal practice in 2012, and in the book Dancing Mindfulness, A Creative Path to Healing and Transformation, that released in 2015, I truly did not create anything new with Dancing Mindfulness. Dance and mindfulness are two of the oldest healing mechanisms on our planet. Mindfulness, as we know it, has roots in the healing traditions of India, specifically in Buddhist meditation. Although many different spiritual practices that inhabit our planet, even religious traditions, have systems of paying attention and dropping in that are very like Buddhist mindfulness. And dance. What culture doesn't use dance in one way or another, either as a vehicle for communication or for healing and expressing emotions? I simply packaged Dancing Mindfulness in 2012 as something that I could take to conferences to get other professionals up and into their bodies instead of just sitting down and watching PowerPoints all day, even as we talked about trauma and the body. Dancing Mindfulness became a practice that we shared in communities, helping people to connect with mindful ideas through music that they felt familiar with, and also as a chance to invite in other expressive forms like writing, visual art making, theater, you name it. The expressive arts buffet is far and wide. So as we move into 2024, I am announcing that I am stepping away from having any kind of formal role as a trainer in Dancing Mindfulness or as a leader of any kind of Dancing Mindfulness community. To best explain my decision, I would like to give you a little bit of the backstory of how Dancing Mindfulness originated as this formalized practice in 2012. I had just taken some trainings in the modern conscious dance movement and found that a lot of what was being taught in conscious dance was not sufficiently trauma-informed or trauma-responsive to be able to share with therapists and their clients. Yet I also liked that conscious dance did feel more open and accessible, especially compared to a lot of the gatekeeping that happens in traditional dance and movement therapy. At that time is when I also discovered the discipline of expressive arts therapy, which is the multimodal blend of different creative forms. And I found that Dancing Mindfulness had a greater home there. Like we teach in expressive arts therapy, there is something magical about, yes, being able to use something therapeutically if you are a clinician and it is in your scope of practice to do so, yet also honoring that dance and indeed all the expressive arts do not belong to any one profession, that you can be a teacher, a dance educator, you can work in a variety of professions and still have meaningful ways to share expressive arts, specifically dance and movement. So in 2013 is when I started formally training others in this system that I developed as Dancing Mindfulness. And this system really had an eye towards appealing to the clinical culture, where mindfulness-informed strategies were really becoming more of a buzzword. And I also developed this system to really appeal to continuing education boards in a way that they would accept these trainings and these practices as legitimate continuing education. So I am in the business of continuing education. My company, the Institute for Creative Mindfulness, is primarily known as an EMDR therapy training provider, and we also forged ahead with doing trainings in Dancing Mindfulness and expressive arts therapy. And I'm proud of the fact that we have trained close to 1,000 facilitators since 2013. I did a lot of those trainings in person and then online or via individual mentorship. And other Dancing Mindfulness affiliates, later called partners, were also able to carry this training tradition forward. However, in recent years, I have had some distress inside about the business of continuing education and the real organic, indeed spiritual nature of Dancing Mindfulness not seeming to fit together for me. And I also wondered how much of what I developed in Dancing Mindfulness over a decade ago was to appeal to this credibility, continuing education culture of our field, and really not honoring the deep meaning of where these practices originate and come from. So I still see myself as a practitioner of Dancing Mindfulness. I share Dancing Mindfulness ideas in all of the continuing education trainings that I do, in venues where I'm asked to share spiritual practice and spiritual teaching. Yet it does not feel like the best fit for me to keep moving ahead doing trainings in Dancing Mindfulness and to try to keep any large-scale community formed. My sense on community is when smaller communities form organically, it can be healthier for the overall development of a practice or even a therapeutic modality than trying to form a hive around a founder, if you speak. So that is why I'm stepping away from having any kind of formal role in leading Dancing Mindfulness or even authorizing training providers. For those of you who trained with me or through people who were authorized by me since 2013, you of course can continue to cite that in your professional bios and your resumes on your websites. I don't regret that a lot of people were trained in this practice. Yet what I really want to see is now a paying forward, a sharing of the practices with others. And if you are an educator, if you are somebody who is developing training programs under a continuing education method, and you feel you have enough base training in Dancing Mindfulness to either incorporate it in or to continue sharing the practice with others, you have my blessing, so to speak, to do that. I am happy to announce that Irene Rodriguez, who was one of the first affiliates that I ever empowered, so to speak, as a Dancing Mindfulness trainer, is going to continue to offer Dancing Mindfulness training as part of her business Mindful Journey Center. And she's also going to be taking over the Institute for Creative Mindfulness's original expressive arts therapy certificate, because this is more of where her heart is and her passion is at this point. And if you are still seeking formal or more formal Dancing Mindfulness training, you can contact Irene through Mindful Journey Center. I know that the practices of Dancing Mindfulness will continue to live on. I'm excited to see what people are going to do with weaving Dancing Mindfulness into their continuing work. You can always contact us at support@instituteforcreativemindfulness.com if you did train in Dancing Mindfulness and you wonder where this leaves you now. In my view, where it leaves you now is to share a practice organically, that developed organically, that has origins in places that no modern therapist has a right to take credit for. Dance is something that is natural. It is something that we can all claim a connection to if we have that intention to do it. You can dance lying down, sitting down, standing up. Your breath is your life force dancing through you, as I articulated in the Dancing Mindfulness book. And I would encourage you to please keep checking out the Dancing Mindfulness book and my follow-up, Process Not Perfection, Expressive Arts Solutions for Trauma Recovery. Both of these volumes I remain immensely proud of as ways that you can develop personalized practices in Dancing Mindfulness and expressive arts therapy, even if you cannot access formal training or a formal class. Please dance on, and please know that Dancing Mindfulness was here long before me, and it'll continue long after I'm gone.